Hi, everyone, and welcome to a special roofing contractor Q&A. I'm RC editor Art Eisner, and I'm really happy to be joined today by Judd Fults, owner and operations manager of Fults Roofing based in Austin, Texas. Judd, welcome to the RC studio.
Thank you. Thank you, Art. I appreciate it.
Great. There's really so much to talk about with the roofing industry today, but before we get ahead of ourselves, Judd, tell us a little bit about Fults Roofing.
Well, Fults Roofing was established in 2017. I had been with the previous company for almost 25 years and decided to go out on my own. And, it was a tough go in the beginning, but it's going pretty well right now. I mean, we're happy where we're at and the growth that we're continuing to see each year. And so we're in a good spot. But yeah, it was just, I was doing all the same work for somebody else that I could be doing for myself. And it just made sense to just go out on my own.
Head out that way. Gotcha. So you've been in roofing for, it sounds like a long time, but let's tell us about the service areas where you work and then the scope of your work.
Okay. Well, we do, Central Texas, Austin and the surrounding, little cities and whatnot. We probably do 75-mile radius. If it's something special, we'll go out of town and do the jobs, but we don't like to do a whole lot of that. We like to stay local. Mm-hmm. We pretty much do everything, every type roofing there is, with the exception of some of the flat applications. But for the most part, we do them all. Most of our work is residential. We do commercial, but select few, just because it's kind of a different animal, the whole commercial side of it. So we try to stay with residential, but there's so much work going on around here that we get into some of these smaller commercial jobs.
I was just going to ask if you had a specialty, if you think so, or
obviously shingles, that's probably our bread and butter, shingles and standing seam metal roofs. I would prefer to do all metal, to be honest with you. I think it's a better product in the end. It's going to last longer, and I like the look of it. And I've got some very good installers that I'd put up against anybody. So I like the metal, but our biggest accounts are all shingles. I mean, that's the most. We do more shingles than anything else.
Okay. Let's step back a little bit further. I understand you spent most of your professional life in roofing. Tell us quickly how you got your start.
I got my start as a summer job when I was in college. My roommate was working for a roofing company, and I said, "Hey, man, I need a job." And he said, "Well, let me see what I can do." And I went in there, and 25 years later, I was still working there. I finished school and did all that stuff, but I knew early on, even before I went to college, that I wasn't the type that would be wearing a suit and tie. And I like to be outdoors and be on the move. And it just seemed like a good fit for me. I could tell that the work was going to be steady as far as, the economy goes, because people have to have their roofs functioning. It doesn't matter if we're in a recession or a boom or what. It has to be done. So I felt like that was a pretty good field to stay in, because I'd always have work, even in the slow times. I'd be able to get by.
Is that roommate still in the business?
He is. He's still working at the same company.
Oh, no way. Okay. How about that? Well, yeah, we all know the industry has a way of not letting you go once.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. And I couldn't be happier. I can't think of anything I'd rather do. There are days when I'm like, whoa, why am I doing this? But but for the most part, I'm happy. I mean, I like what I do. I like accomplishing stuff. I mean, I don't know if it's weird or what, but I like seeing the start to finish progression of stuff. And when it's finished, I have pride in that. So I really like that.
So. Well, and that's one thing that really hasn't changed in the industry is you got to start somewhere, and once you do the job right, there is that completion.
Yeah.
What are some things that stick out to you over the decades about how the industry has changed?
Well, the industry has changed. There's a lot more roofers than there used to be. I mean, when I started, it was a handful of companies in Austin. We actually, the company I started for, when we started, we actually we didn't have subs. We did all the work. And as we evolved, the subs really started, you know, become
Emerging. Yeah.
more widely used. And now that's all it is for the most part. Everybody's a sub. But I got my start. I mean, we were doing a lot of shake roofs and redecks at the time, and that's the whole company would go out there, and everybody was an employee, and we did all that stuff. But that's changed. I don't get on many roofs anymore, which I'm fine with. But and then just the pricing. I mean, obviously prices go up, but it's I think back when I started, we were doing, new construction lightweights for like $10 a square, $15 a square, something like that. And that's just like, we're 1,000 times higher than that these days, just because of material costs and labor costs. But otherwise, it's, it hadn't changed a whole lot for me, because the bread and butter, the stuff that I like, shingles and metal. Shingles have gotten better. Metal's the metal. There's obviously a bunch of the synthetics and stuff that come out. We'll put them on, but at the end of the day, I like the other stuff, and they've stayed the same. They're tried and true, and that they're not going out of business or anything like that. So that's kind of,
yeah, we've definitely we've been following the progression of metal in the residential marketplace too, so we know that that's becoming more and more popular. Are there some specific challenges in the Austin market that maybe other roofers around the country can relate to?
the, right now the biggest challenge is getting material. There's all the shortages. We've got the labor, we've got everything else, but just getting what we need, that's the biggest challenge. And that's for everybody. So we understand that's just the time we're in right now. But other than that, right now in Austin, things are really good. We've had some storms, which, I hate for people to have damage, but at the same time, I also like it, because that's where we get to go in and do a lot of these hail claims. But aside from that, Austin's booming and building anyway, and there's no shortage of work. So the biggest obstacle at this point is just getting the material.
Right. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because that is the topic of the day in the roofing industry.
Yeah.
And it's never been more important to have that established relationship with trusted suppliers. I'm interested in going back a little bit, when you ventured out on your own. Can you talk to me a little bit about how you found that supplier, the first one that trusted you to work with, and what that relationship has been like?
Well, I had a long-standing relationship with multiple suppliers, just because I've been in the business.
Mm-hmm.
But I went out, I called. Chelsea was one of the first calls that I made over at Beacon, and just let her know I was going out on my own. I filled out my apps, got my credit line with them, and she and I've known each other for a long time, so we're friends. And it, like you said, having that connection to the supplier certainly helps, because I'm able to, even though she's not at that branch anymore, I've gotten pretty close with everybody up there, and they work with me. I'll just put it that way. I mean, especially in this time when it's hard to get materials, and like, we can't get it or we got it. They've robbed Peter to pay Paul with me on a couple of occasions when I was in a bind. And, I appreciate it. I couldn't do what I've been doing the last 5 years on my own without their help at Beacon. I really couldn't. So, and I do use some other suppliers, but they're my go-to. I probably get 90-95% of my stuff from them.
What are you telling clients about some of the delays that you're either facing because of material shortages, and how are those relationships going?
Well, we've been fortunate on that front. Most of our customers, they understand. I mean, they can see it. They see what lumber prices are doing and everything else, and that there's shortages. And we just, from the start, you're going to have to be patient. And really, it depends on, if you're a shingle and now metal as well. Depending on what color you pick is going to determine when we can do your work, because they're not making all the colors, uh, you know, all the time. So you're getting stuff on allocation. And knock on wood, to this point, most of the colors we've tried to push people to is stuff that is available. I've got a few that they're like, we'll wait a year. It doesn't matter to us. That's what we want. And, we're fine with that as well. So, we've got a pretty good customer base that understands. I mean, there's the occasional person that doesn't quite wrap their head around it, but at the end of the day, it hasn't been an issue with any of our customers.
Got it. And so you did touch on a little bit about how they're helping you get through some of this, situation. Now, I also wanted to ask about how that relationship also helped get you through the COVID-19 challenges that you guys just went through. What was last year like?
Last year was weird. It started off really strong, and then COVID hit, and we were pretty much shut down April and May. I mean, we were coming into the office, but we lost a lot of jobs. People thought the economy was going to tank and all kinds of stuff. And I had a lot of metal roofs set up at that point that they just said, they were elected. They weren't doing them because they needed a roof. They just wanted a metal roof. And those all disappeared, for lack of a better word. But at the end of May, it was like a switch went off, and it turned back on, and it was business as usual. I mean, we were fortunate enough that, everybody else was having to quarantine at home, but we were able to continue to work. I tell my wife often, I was like, we don't have really anything to complain about. I mean, we didn't have to. She works at a hospital, and I work in the roofing, and so we were both able to go to work every day when most people were sitting at home and not getting paid and doing this. So we were very fortunate.
Okay. Let's dive a little bit further into that relationship with Beacon.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm told you've been a strong supporter of the Tri-Built line, and that you've recently converted all of your orders through the Pro Plus system. Can you talk about how that works and the decision to go that route?
Well, I mean, the Tri-Built was an easy decision because it's more cost effective and it's high quality. So I was like, yeah, I'm down with that, because anything that can save me some money on the front end, I'm happy for. It took a little getting used to for me. I'm still kind of old school. I'm not very technologically savvy, but I've gotten the hang of it, and I like the fact that it's automated, keeps all my records. I can go back and look. I don't have to do that myself anymore. When you put your order in, you know exactly what you're going to pay, as you're ordering it. I mean, I always have a good idea, obviously, what I'm going to pay, but once I add all the components in there and I can actually see it, and that's, I really just, that helps me, determine if I need to change my bid structure or whatnot, based on, current pricing, because it's kind of changing too these days. And so I've always got the current pricing because I do it through Pro Plus.
Judd, while I have you, I've noticed that Fults Roofing has a 100% five-star ratings on all review sites. I wanted to ask, how much effort is that something you and your crew put time into, and what are you doing, I guess, differently that's keeping you ahead of the competition?
Well, I'm all about service. I mean, there's no ambiguity in there. I mean, the customer knows what's going on. We're on site. We talk to them. We walk them through the whole process. And the biggest thing is, I tell my crews, my guys, is like, when we show up to a house, I don't care if there's trash in the yard when we show up. When we leave, I want that place cleaner than when we got there. And if a customer asks you to do something, you do it. And that's what it's all about is customer service. I don't go out, we have these reviews. Some people do it on their own, but usually when I send out a bill, I say, if you don't mind giving me a review, do it. So I don't know how many we've got. I'm not a real techie, so that's not something I handle. I got someone else doing it. I just want the 5 stars. And that's the kind of service we provide. Yeah.
But it sounds like you've got a high level of professional pride, or that's a goal you definitely
I do.
strive to seek.
I do. My mentor, that was really big where I worked before. And my first boss that taught me the business and that I worked with for all those years. I mean, that was the key. And I like that. And that was one reason I stuck around, is because we were honest and we said what we did and we did what we said. And I like that. I mean, we stand behind our work. And so that carried on, to my business. And I won't have it any other way. I mean, if I've got people working for me that we don't line up, then we just have to part ways, because we're here to serve people. They're the customer. We're the workers. They hired us to do a job, and we need to do it correctly. So, I've been lucky that I got good people around me. I'm very selective in who I let into my little world here, but because it's important to me, because at the end of the day, that's my name out there. Mm-hmm. And I don't want people to think of Fults Roofing or Judd Fults and go, well, man, what a whatever. They didn't do what they said they were going to do, and they messed up my job or whatever. So, not to say things don't happen, because everybody's human, but we take care of it, and we make it right with our customers.
All right, Judd, where can folks find out more about Fults Roofing?
They can go to the website, which is just fultsroofing.com, and browse that and get information, or better yet, call and talk to me. You can call my office number, and if I don't answer, I'll call you right back. Someone will answer, and we'll get back to you, and I'll answer any questions that you got.
All right. Well, Judd, I appreciate the insight and the great conversation. And thanks to all of you out there for taking the time to spend with us, whether on video or listening to us on our podcast. While you're here at roofingcontractor.com, if you're interested in more content just like this, please subscribe to our free e-newsletter and check out our new and improved e-magazine. Thank you very much, Judd. Really appreciate the time. Was there anything else?
No, sir. I appreciate your time and this whole process. I'm really excited about it. I'm very honored that I was selected to do this.
Take care and stay safe, everyone.